And why do you think so many people feel so good when they pick their skin or they scratch it? Because I know a lot of people scratch just to make their skin feel smoother as well, because they don't like
Yeah,
seeing the flakes or the
yeah.
bumps. So yeah, what's the psychological reason behind it?
Skin picking helps regulate emotions when people are feeling bored or stressed or worried, or a lot of people do it when they just have time. So when people tend to be busy and engaged in activities, so this very much relates to eczema because there are plenty of people that tell me about eczema. Um, it's the itch that really drives them nuts, not just the redness, right, of the skin. And I think when people tend to be really engaged in getting busy in a way, I call it like keeping busy, engaging in a mindful way of, whether you're, um, I don't know, going for a walk or talking to somebody or eating food or at work or at school, you're really engaged. But the moment that you're not super engaged, that's when people go like, oh, let's fill it in. I'm feeling a little stressed or a little bored. I'm in the car. I don't have something to do. Let's pick. Or I'm feeling a little, my boss is making me feel a little nervous at work. Let's pick. So again, it's a way to help regulate emotions. It's just not the healthiest way. And initially it's great temporary relief. People love it at first, but then of course, afterwards, people feel awful about it. And what did I do? And then, you get caught in what can be this really sort of itch scratch cycle, right? Where it's like, it's itchy, let's go after it. And then you scratch it, and then things start to intensify, and people keep doing it. And it's not abnormal for me to talk to people where it's taking over a huge portion of their lives, a huge portion of every day and every week. And so a lot of the work that I do with people is help them. Let's identify, when are you itching? When are you scratching? When is it happening? I'll have people log it. A lot of people, especially have smartphones, they've got wonderful apps, note apps, and I'll say, look, when you're doing it, let's write down the time and the place. Where were you? What was going on? And let's get a little bit of a better understanding of it. And that helps in two ways. One is, of course, you get a better understanding of it. But the other thing is you become much more consciously aware of when you're doing it. So you give yourself a chance to go, all right, do I want to keep this up? Or do I want to do something else and do something healthier here? And so you can help people, slowly reduce it throughout the week. Some people do it for hours and hours and hours. And as you learn about it and then kind of create interventions, do a little less there, a little less there, all of a sudden people go, wow, I've spent, 4 hours less this week scratching and picking. And to me, obviously everybody wants to spend time doing what's meaningful in life, not just scratching skin. So yeah, it gets amplified. I think that with skin pickers, so if we're isolating kind of general skin pickers and we're not adding in the skin pickers that have eczema or other kind of normal conditions that amplify the itch, those people, it's definitely genetic to some degree, and then they build up this habit and they keep doing it. Now, if you add that extra component with eczema, with and a variety of other stuff too, but that extra itch where you go, oh, that urge is just intensified, right? Then you've got to really sort of do the work of, okay, in that moment, what are we going to do? Do we want to give into the urge? Do we want to work on changing the urge? Do we want to use more of an acceptance-based approach and learn how to recognize that this is normal, it's going to be frustrating, I'm going to want to scratch, but how to sit with that? Or are there good interventions and then move people into doing something healthier? So there's a variety of ways to kind of work around it. And everybody's life is a little different, and some things work really well for some people, and then you do the same thing with somebody else. Like, that doesn't really work that well for me. And so my work is kind of doing a lot of detective work of figuring out kind of when and where is this happening, who's around, especially with eczema. It's not so uncommon for people to say, I was doing so great, and then I was with my in-laws and it flared up, or it was doing something that caused some sort of emotional reaction or a change. And that's when I noticed it more. And so understanding what's behind the scenes, not just the surface of the skin, right? There's wonderful behavioral approaches where you can say, let's just do this basic behavioral change. And that can be helpful, but also getting deeper and underneath of like, oh, okay, why then? How come the flare-ups are happening? Everything was fine and things were going great. And then all of a sudden, it was awful. And so it's a really neat but challenging kind of landscape down there, because it's not very straightforward. You learn and get answers, and things become a little more straightforward as you learn about it. But yeah, the skin, especially around psoriasis, it's tricky stuff. So with better awareness and using some of these kind of interventions, you can really help people reduce, in some cases, not all, a significant amount of itching that's happening. And then the other cool part that happens, if you can then move forward and really significantly reduce itching, the body is then just not sort of conditioned to keep up the habit so much. And so, then people kind of report, yeah, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better. And then the urges go down a little bit in some cases. And so it kind of can, some extra kind of forces then help facilitate the process and help make life more tolerable, or the skin condition more